Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more incredible stories like this one. For some people, the world just isn't big enough. In an age when maps were nearly complete and every mountain peak seemed to have a flag on it, one man still believed in the unknown. His name was Colonel Percy Harrison Fawcett, a British explorer from a forgotten era. A man whose spirit was shaped by Victorian ambition and whose body was tested by years of surviving the uncertainty. He saw the Amazon not just as a jungle, but as his cathedral, a place he famously called the Green Hell. And he was utterly convinced that hidden deep within its suffocating embrace was a secret that would change history forever. A magnificent low city he codenamed Z. This wasn't just a whim. It was an obsession that drove him for years. Fawcett wasn't just chasing a fantasy. He was piecing together a puzzle. He found strange, beautifully crafted pottery in parts of the jungle where no civilization should have been. He heard whispers from isolated tribes about tall, white-skinned people living in cities made of shining stone. He even discovered cryptic, centuries-old documents from Spanish conquistadors that hinted at a civilization older and grander than the Incas. Back in London, the scientific community laughed at him. They called him a romantic, a dreamer, a madman chasing a ghost. But Fawcett felt it in his bones. He believed he had felt the very pulse of this lost world beneath his feet, and he was determined to prove them all wrong. In the spring of 1925, at the age of 57, a time when most men were considering retirement, Fawcett prepared for his final, desperate quest. He had learned from past mistakes. This time, there would be no large, slow expedition to weigh him down. His team would be small, fast, and resilient. It would be just 3 people. Himself, with his unmatched knowledge of the jungle, his 22-year-old son, Jack, who was strong, loyal, and shared his father's burning passion, and Jack's close friend, Raleigh Rimmel, chosen for his toughness and endurance. As they prepared to leave, Fawcett's wife, Nina, watched them go with a heart torn between immense pride and suffocating dread. She knew her husband was chasing a dream from which he might never return. Together, the 3 men plunged into the green ocean of Brazil's Mato Grosso region. It was a world of crushing humidity, where a perpetual twilight existed beneath a canopy 100 feet thick. The air itself was alive, a constant symphony of unseen creatures. The chatter of monkeys, the sharp cry of macaws, and the maddening, ever-present hum of a billion insects. Every single step was a fight against nature. Vampire bats attacked their pack animals at night. Venomous snakes lay coiled on the path like living tripwires, and the invisible threats of malaria and yellow fever hung in the humid air like a poisonous fog. But for Fawcett, this was where he truly came alive. The challenges didn't deter him. They invigorated him. His dispatches, which he sent back with native runners whenever possible, weren't filled with fear, but with an almost mystical sense of confidence. He wrote of seeing strange animal tracks he couldn't identify, of noticing mysterious lights glowing in the distant hills at night, and of a growing certainty that they were finally on the right path to Z. They pushed deeper and deeper, past the last outposts of the known world, beyond a grim landmark Fawcett himself had named Dead Horse Camp, the very spot where his horse had died on a previous expedition. They were stepping off the map, becoming ghosts walking into a world that belonged only to myth and legend. On May 29, 1925, Colonel Fawcett handed his final message to a runner. It was a letter to his wife, Nina. In it, his resolve was as strong as ever, his belief unbreakable. He described their location and his plan to venture into a completely unexplored territory, a place from which no one had ever come back. His last known written words are a powerful testament to his unyielding spirit. "We are now in very difficult country. You need have no fear of failure." And then there was only silence. The runner who carried that last letter was the last person known to have seen them alive. The weeks turned into months, and the months bled into years. The world held its breath, waiting for news. The same newspapers that had once mocked him as a fool now hailed him as a heroic colonel, lost in the line of duty. Nina Fawcett, refusing to let hope die, poured her resources into funding one search party after another, desperate for any sign of her husband and son. Over the next decade, more than a dozen official rescue missions pushed into the Amazon. Over 100 men risked their lives to find Fawcett. Most came back with nothing but stories of hardship, Many never came back at all, swallowed by the same green hell that had taken the man they were looking for. So, what happened to them? The world was left with nothing but theories and whispers from the jungle. Did they finally encounter a hostile tribe they couldn't charm or escape? It's possible. Fawcett was known for his ability to make peaceful contact, but one wrong move could have been fatal. Or were they simply defeated by the jungle itself? Did they succumb to starvation or a sudden illness? Their bodies quickly absorbed back into the forest's relentless cycle of life and death. But there's another, more romantic, and perhaps more fitting theory. What if Percy Fawcett actually succeeded? What if he found his city of Z? Imagine him, after years of searching, finally standing before a civilization far more advanced than his own. Is it possible that he and his son chose to stay? Perhaps he didn't die as a failed explorer, but instead lived out his final days as a man who had finally, after a lifetime of searching, found his true home. We may never know the truth. The jungle holds its secrets tightly. Colonel Fawcett went into the Amazon searching for a lost civilization, and in doing so, he became a lost civilization of his own. A father, a son, and a friend who walked into the great, green abyss and became one of its most enduring and captivating mysteries. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the unknown. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that like button, and be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next adventure. See you in the next video.